On May 1st, 2026, Julian Alfred did far more than simply step onto the track at Mike A. Myers Stadium. In a single weekend, she completely changed the conversation surrounding the 2026 track season before most athletes had even reached peak form. While many elite sprinters use early May as a period to build fitness and sharpen race execution, the athlete known as the Texas Queen arrived in Austin and immediately took control of the global rankings. Within just 24 hours, Alfred produced a world-leading 21.86 seconds in the 200 meters and followed it with a wind-legal 10.93 seconds in the 100 meters. These were not merely impressive season openers. They were performances that forced the entire sprinting world to pay attention. The conditions in Austin were typical of a Texas spring afternoon. Warm, heavy air hung over the stadium as Alfred settled into the blocks for the 100-meter final. Across the track stood a field filled with talented collegiate and professional athletes. Yet when the gun fired, it quickly became clear that this race would belong to one person. Alfred exploded from the blocks with remarkable efficiency. Every phase of her race appeared smooth and controlled. Rather than gradually separating from the field, she established her advantage almost immediately. By the finish line, she had stopped the clock at 10.93 seconds, leaving accomplished athletes, including Jamaica's Carletta Bernard, nearly a quarter of a second behind. For most sprinters, a sub-11-second performance this early in the season would represent a major achievement. For Alfred, it looked like the starting point of something much bigger. What made the performance even more impressive was the fact that only one day earlier, she had delivered an equally dominant display in the 200 meters. On April 30th, Alfred stepped onto the track and produced a world-leading 21.86 seconds. The race was never truly competitive. She crossed the finish line almost a full second ahead of her nearest challenger, turning what should have been a contest into a demonstration of superiority. The performance highlighted the evolution that has taken place under the guidance of her coach, Edric Floreal, better known throughout athletics as Coach Flo. Alfred's speed was never in question. The challenge was finding a way to sustain that speed more effectively throughout an entire race. During the 200 meters, she carried exceptional momentum through the curve and into the straightaway. Instead of reaching top speed and gradually slowing, she maintained velocity far longer than most elite sprinters. The result was a performance that immediately became the world leader and sent a message to every major rival preparing for the season ahead. To understand how Alfred reached this point, it is necessary to return to the beginning of her journey in Castries, St. Lucia. Her story did not begin in a world-class training center. It began in a schoolyard, where adults noticed a young girl consistently outrunning every boy around her. Long before international titles and Olympic medals, she possessed a level of natural speed that was impossible to ignore. However, her path to greatness was nearly interrupted. In 2013, Alfred suffered a devastating personal loss when her father passed away. The tragedy affected her deeply, and for a period she stepped away from athletics altogether. At just 12 years old, she struggled to find motivation to continue. Local coaches eventually encouraged her to return to the track, but the defining decision of her young career came 2 years later. At only 14 years old, Alfred left St. Lucia and moved alone to Jamaica. It was a sacrifice that required enormous courage. She left behind her family, her home, and the comfort of familiar surroundings to pursue an uncertain dream in one of the most competitive sprinting environments on Earth. At St. Catherine High School, she entered a culture where sprinting was taken seriously at every level. Every race mattered. Every athlete wanted to win. Competing in the famous champs competitions forced her to develop mental toughness long before she ever reached the international stage. As an outsider, she faced additional pressure. Local athletes had no interest in allowing someone from another country to take their medals. Every competition became a test. Rather than breaking her confidence, those experiences strengthened it. The years spent in Jamaica transformed raw talent into a complete competitor. When Alfred later arrived at the University of Texas to train under Coach Flo, she already possessed elite speed and exceptional competitive instincts. Floreal quickly recognized, however, that another level still existed within her potential. The objective was not simply to make her faster, it was to make her stronger, more efficient, and more durable. For the 2026 season, Alfred and her coach adopted a strength-first philosophy that differed from many traditional sprint programs. Instead of focusing almost entirely on speed development, they incorporated elements more commonly associated with longer sprint events. Heavy strength work became a major priority. Endurance training designed to resist fatigue was added alongside explosive sprint sessions. The goal was simple: create an athlete capable of maintaining elite velocity longer than anyone else in the field. That philosophy is now visible in every race she runs. Her 10.93-second opener was not merely the result of natural talent. It was the product of a stronger body capable of generating more force while maintaining efficiency deep into a a race. By increasing her strength relative to body weight, Alfred gained the ability to sustain top-end speed longer than many of her competitors. Ironically, this transformation emerged from one of the most difficult periods of her career. During early 2024, Alfred found herself approaching a mental breaking point. The pressure of elite competition had become overwhelming, and at one stage, she seriously considered walking away from the sport. Coach Flo responded by doing more than designing workouts. He helped reshape her mindset. One of the most important lessons he taught her was the value of relaxation. Rather than viewing sprinting as a fight against opponents and the clock, Alfred learned to approach races with greater calm and trust in her preparation. That mental shift changed everything. As tension disappeared, her movements became smoother and more efficient. She stopped forcing performances and began allowing them to happen naturally. By the time she arrived at the 2026 Texas Invitational, that confidence had become one of her greatest strengths. This evolution is especially important because sprint races are often decided not by who accelerates the fastest, but by who slows down the least. Every athlete eventually experiences fatigue. The challenge is preserving velocity when that fatigue arrives. This is where Alfred's strength-focused training has become a major advantage. Analysis of her performances suggests that she is maintaining speed deeper into races than ever before. While many competitors tighten up as fatigue builds, Alfred remains relaxed and efficient. Her mechanics stay consistent, her rhythm remains intact, and her ability to sustain velocity has reached a new level. That durability has become one of the defining features of her career. It helped her win St. Lucia's first Olympic gold medal, and it is the same quality that now places her in conversations about one of the most famous records in sports history, Florence Griffith Joyner's 10.49-second world record in the 100 meters. For decades, that mark has stood untouched. Many extraordinary athletes have approached it, yet none have managed to surpass it. As a result, the record has acquired an almost mythical reputation within athletics. Now, Alfred's early season performances have reignited the discussion. Opening a season with 10.93 and 21.86 is extraordinary under any circumstances. Doing so in early May makes the performances even more remarkable. Most sprinters aim to reach their fastest form later in the summer. Alfred is already producing times that many elite athletes struggle to achieve during championship season. Whether she ultimately challenges the world record remains uncertain. What is certain is that she has earned a place in the conversation. Mike A. Myers Stadium has hosted many great performances, but the 2026 Texas Invitational felt different. It felt like the arrival of an athlete entering the prime of her career. Julian Alfred is no longer viewed as an emerging talent searching for validation among the world's best. She has established herself as one of the dominant figures in modern sprinting. Her performances in Austin represented far more than statistical achievements. They reflected the journey of an athlete who repeatedly chose perseverance over surrender. She continued after personal tragedy. She left home at a young age to chase opportunity. She survived intense competitive environments and overcame moments of doubt that nearly pushed her away from the sport. Every challenge helped shape the athlete she is today. Her success has also transformed the global perception of St. Lucia. Despite having a population of roughly 180,000 people, the island now stands prominently within the world of athletics thanks to her achievements. Young athletes growing up there now have proof that global success is possible. As the 2026 season continues, the question is no longer whether Julian Alfred can win major races. She has already answered that question. The more intriguing question is how much faster she can become. If she is already running 10.93 and 21.86 in May, what will she look like after months of additional preparation leading into the major championships? That uncertainty is what has captivated the athletics world. Observers are fascinated by her ability to combine explosive sprint speed with an unusual capacity to sustain that speed. She possesses the acceleration expected from a world-class sprinter, yet she also displays a level of endurance that allows her to remain effective throughout the entire race. Few athletes possess both qualities at such a high level. As a result, Alfred has become the center of attention in women's sprinting. Every major discussion about the season now includes her name. Every championship prediction begins with an evaluation of where she stands relative to the rest of the field. True greatness is not defined by a single race or a single championship. It is defined by the ability to return year after year and continue pushing the boundaries of what seems possible. That is exactly what Julian Alfred appears to be doing. Her world-leading 21.86 seconds in the 200 meters meters, and her wind-legal 10.93 seconds in the 100 meters have established a powerful foundation for the remainder of the season. More importantly, they have created genuine anticipation for what may still come. Can her strength-first training philosophy unlock another level of performance? Can she continue lowering her times as the season progresses? And perhaps most importantly, can she eventually challenge the seemingly untouchable 10.49-second world record? Only time will provide those answers. For now, one conclusion is difficult to avoid. Julian Alfred entered Austin and immediately reshaped the landscape of women's sprinting. She reminded the world that greatness is built through resilience, sacrifice, growth, and the willingness to keep moving forward when every reason exists to stop. If her performances in Texas are any indication, the most impressive chapter of her career may still lie ahead.